Dear viewers, praise be Jesus and Mary. We are always glad that we may be able to share certain reflections. That's going to be this time in a new reflection. Today I want to talk about what happened at one, we would say, a simple birthday, which turned out to be a great evil and a crime. The birthday celebration, it was of a great ruler, Herod. This drama was being held at the court of Herod, and he, who celebrated his birthday, so he invited all of his servants, all those who worked with him. It was the atmosphere at the court, and there were various spies, various people who were presenting to be faithful to him, faithful to their ruler, and actually they were not. At that celebration, there was also the situation where the lust and the body prevails over what was spiritual, and that's exactly what happened. Herod, he invited various guests, and among them was daughter of Herodiada, who was a wife of his brother Philip. Herodiada, it was Salma who danced, and in that way she completely seduced the ruler, so he tried to do whatever he could to win her back with the offer that was not moral and that was absolutely sinful. Why did Herodiada despise St. John the Baptist? This is the key question. She simply knew the words of St. John the Baptist, and the main objection and the important objection was the fact that she heard say to Herod that he cannot take Herodiada as his wife, for she was lawful wife of his brother Philip. And this is where Herodiada hated St. John the Baptist. Actually, she hated the truth. She hated the fact that she cannot commit adultery, that she cannot be in adultery, that cannot be something normal and something acceptable. And then she was objecting, we would say, she was really constantly objecting to Herod that St. John the Baptist needs to be removed, because she thought if you remove the one who is there on the way of achieving your lusts and your bad habits, you would feel content and pleasure. Herod, however, did not want to resolve the case of St. John the Baptist in that way. Why? Because Herod knew, he himself knew, that this was God's man. He gladly listened to him. Even admired St. John the Baptist. He imprisoned him, but he was not asking for his death because he was afraid. He could feel the fear. And so, when persuaded by Herodiada, after he himself offered that he would give to her daughter whatever she asked for, so you see where the problem is. The ruler Herod felt that he was the one who owns everything. This is what many feel today. We are owners. We have copyright over the life, over the world, over possessions, over people, over freedom. And then he said, ask whatever you wish, even half of my kingdom, and I'm going to give you that. And then Herodiada whispered to her daughter. This was the moment when we have bad people who are alliances to us, when we have those who want to ruin us, not to save us. And so she asks for something extraordinary. Bring me the head of St. John the Baptist. It was Herod who was astonished with that. He was broken, he was shocked. Yet he gave in. Why did he give in? You see, what are we going to see in a certain way? And we would find many situations of our time and of our lives. Herod gave in before Herodiada, just because he was proud. It was more important for him to maintain his promise, because all round were those who cooperated with him, all round were those who supported him, who were applauding him, who are in the same group with him. So it was more important for him to deny his consciousness and his attitudes rather than to be weak before those who were around him. And so someone could say, I met so many people who, because of their pride, lost their love. We need to be shocked at them, not to be shocked at people who, because of love, have pushed away their pride. So this is where there's that bad pride, arrogance that prevailed in Herod, and he did this evil. And the final epilogue was that John, as the prophet, as the messenger of God, as God's truth, he gave his life for this. Isn't it that way of those who want to follow God, of those who want to follow Jesus Christ? It was said that exactly it was going to be that way. Prophets even today are beheaded. Prophets who call to the truth. Prophets who would say that we cannot live in sin, in adultery, in immorality, in lust. These are not welcome. They're being pushed away. They're being declared to people who do not have tolerance. Some rigid preachers who are scaring people. And actually, what is that they do? They're just bringing this simple teaching of Jesus Christ along. So the prophets are always going to be persecuted. That is the way, and that was the way of St. John the Baptist. In the context of Medjugorje, because these reflections I'm giving in Medjugorje, we can find many people who were just like Herods, who came here to Mother, Queen of Peace. They came from the world of their entertainment, from the world of their physical life, from the world of their lusts, of various pleasures. And then here in Medjugorje, they lost the head of this world, but they received the head that thinks in divine way, a new heart. And it is exactly here where people in Medjugorje, with the turning point of their life, they have taken the false pride, the false arrogance, they have pushed that aside, and they accepted what is God's way, what is God's truth. Actually, what happened was conversion. They were, unlike Herod, brave. Pilgrim needs to be brave and bold. So he would first face his own weaknesses. So he would step out of the court, or sometimes what is offered is something easy. He would step away from the hunger, he would step away from what is evil, and he would accept the real truth that only God can give. This is what the project is, what God's invitation is, what is God's offer for true things, real things. We always need to make that step out. We do not need to see how others would perceive us, but whether we would truly listen to what is God's. We would recognize God's messenger in our lives, and we would say no to sin and to what evil is. I'm going to read what a great man wrote, Judo Šušlić. He says, these little spirits, referring to such people of interest and of body, just like Herod was, these petite spirits cannot understand that this civilization offers everything that the heart and the soul do not long for, what we do not need. They cannot live with empty hands, and I cannot live with empty head. In order for me to be spiritually free, he says, I accepted many material sacrifices and material losses. In order for me to have the full soul, I needed to have empty hands. Full hands cannot be eternal replacement for empty soul. This author wrote, dear friends, We need to take a risk in order for us to be able to gain a lot. Maybe today we have full hands of various goods, of various material possibilities. Maybe we are just about to grab various pleasures, lusts, some celebrations where we perhaps are going to lose our soul, and our body would always remain hungry and lustful. Let us understand it is far much better to have full head rather than to have full hands, to have full heart, and perhaps we would have empty wallet. Therefore, let us always go to listen to the prophets, to listen to God's teaching, to listen to what Saint John the Baptist professed. So Herod and Herodiada and her daughter and all those great companions at that court would be saved and would be invited to conversion. We as Christians in this time, we would know that it is not important whether we would be beheaded or not, whether someone would chop off our head. It is important that no one can hurt our soul. Actually, that is what Jesus was saying, that we should not be afraid of those who can destroy our bodies and cannot harm our soul. Therefore, always listen to the voice of your consciousness. Do not be surrounded with false and wrong spies and hypocrites who do not care about you. They only care for their own welfare and their own profit. And maybe they, with false approvals, are sending you to eternal destruction. May Our Lady, Queen of Peace, intercede you on the path of the truth. Peace and good to each one of you.